So welcome to this nice Yin class, this last Yin class of the year. Let's start with waterfall. So grab your block, bend your knees, step your feet up to the mat, lift your butt and place the block under your tailbone and bring your legs straight up to the ceiling. You have to find the balance point for 2 minutes. We're going to open up the shoulders a little today, Dennis. Let's start by interlacing your fingers completely, flipping the palms away from you. Introduce yourself to the fingers, the finger joints, the wrist joints, where your upper meridians run heart, lungs, small, large intestines, pericardium, and sangial meridians. I think you'll enjoy the class today. It is a little more active yin than we typically do, but it is a nice opening for the body. While your feet are in the air, let's give some affection to the 56 bones of the feet. We'll rotate the ankles in both directions, spread the toes, point the toes, crimp the toes. Make sure you're breathing deeply. Today, as we always try to do a little reading about the essence of yoga, 87% deal with the mind. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the ego. We're going to read a little bit of scripture from the Bible. Was Jesus a yogi? Was Jesus a yogi? We'll read a little bit. You can decide on your own. And we're going to read an article from the New York Times about meditation that was put out only 3 days ago. Grab opposite elbows. Drape the arms over the top or crown of your head. Snuggle the upper arms into the ears till you feel a little stretch in the shoulders. And just for about 45 more seconds, continue breathing, moving your powerful consciousness to whatever area works for you best. When we finish the class, we're going to go through a guided meditation where we'll move your consciousness to different areas of the body, culminating in a green healing light. So if you have any areas that you're interested in healing, you could perhaps benefit from the guided meditation at the end of class. I'm looking forward to teaching. I hope that you find some value in it. Now this next request is snail or plow pose. If you're not able to find the pose, no big deal. It's only for about 1.5 minutes. Let's come completely off the block. Now, we know this is plow pose, but in Yin Yoga they call it snail. You start off with shoulder stand, but ultimately you want to draw the feet over the head, maybe even touching the rug behind. Have fun. So I'm timing this for 1.5 minutes. Make sure you're breathing deep. If you do manage to get the feet close to the rug over the head, you're stretching the spinal cord. So this is plow pose or snail. One of only 2 poses I know that stretch the spinal cord, this one and reclining hero pose, which we've done before. It's the queen of all inversion. If you're breathing deep, those organs are moving, of course, towards your head, diaphragm helping massage some internal organs. I hope you're breathing nice and deep. And again, if this is uncomfortable for you, no big deal. It's only 1.5 minutes. And we have done snail or plow in a yin class before. It just doesn't happen that often. If you have any thyroid issues, for anybody viewing the video, you can do shoulder stand, plow pose, and then you'll see the counter pose coming up in about 15 seconds. You can come off your thyroid medication, not have to go on or even reduce. So Kathy Miller is going to share the counter pose as she comes up to her forearms and lays her head back. You can come out of plow or snail. The counter pose, you're up, if you can see Kathy Jo Miller, you're up on your forearms, lay your head back. It's a modified fish or modified camel. This is just about 40 seconds. But you're stressing the joints, right? You're stressing the joints of the neck, which is what yin is. You open up the connective tissue between the joints. Hydration coming back in. I hope you're breathing deep. Give me about 5 more deep breaths. All right, let's make your way so your head is looking in my direction. You can stay on your forearms. We're going to start left today. Left. So your left ankle above the right knee. And then come up to straighter arms. Not necessarily too straight, because I want you to bend the right leg too. So you're putting some energy into that left hip. But we're going to compound the move by laying the head back, looking at the ceiling. As you inhale, lift the heart, arch the back. You'll notice on that deep inhale, that hip becomes a little more energized. This is 2 minutes, and this is a modified seated pigeon. We will not do Sphinx today, as I purposely put Sphinx aside, and that's the back bend. This is a subtle back bend. I hope you're breathing deeply. So over the years, I've been teaching now for about 7.5 years, many practitioners have come and gone. And I'm very sensitive to that. As I mentioned to you guys recently, yoga practitioners are very kind-hearted, loving people, I find. Sensitive. So when people come and go from my classes, I always question, I wonder what I did wrong. I wonder if I said something that rubbed them the wrong way, because 87% of yoga deals with paradigm shift. Instead of thinking the way you're presently thinking, when you learn perhaps the yoga approaches, you have to think a little differently. Yoga teaches that there's an indivisible divine unity to all of us, that we're all brothers and sisters of this universe. So while I was thinking about that the other day, it seems like the cosmic consciousness reminded me of this scripture in the Bible. And the question you can ask yourself is, was Jesus a yogi? Was Jesus a yogi? As I read that, you can come to your own conclusion. We'll take a few more moments in this pose, and we'll get to that in a minute. All right, you can straighten your legs. Now, once your legs are straight, you're in stick pose. Sit up tall, interlace the fingers, pointers. Take a few breaths as you lift out. Lift out. Let's go to the right. Take your right hand down and lateral bend to the right for 1.5 minutes. We're not going to do banana today. We're going to do twice the lateral bends we normally do. This one is a little more ambitious than banana. Each time you exhale, bend that bottom elbow. Let the shoulder drop so the ear can drop to the shoulder as well. Now, yoga teaches that all paths are divine. Whatever path you choose is the path you've chosen. Since we're eternal spirits, what difference does it make what path you're on? You're allowed to do what you wish to do for an eternity. But eventually you get tired of the flesh, and eventually, hopefully, you'll seek the kingdom within with meditation and transform to a different plane of existence. So you don't have to come back here again and again and again. Keep in mind, all the titles that you have are attached to the ego. You're a retired teacher, a lawyer, a mother, a father, a brother, a sister, a cousin, a wife, a husband. All those are temporary titles. They will pass away and you'll start again. So in the big picture, it doesn't matter. You've been on many lifetimes and many different titles. You can release. We're staying left, as I mentioned already. The left leg bends. Sit up tall. You can have the right hand or arm on the left leg. Makes no difference to me. The right hand on the left leg and the left hand behind you. Twist to your left. Twist left. So if you're going to have a discussion with someone about what path they're on or what path they should take, remember, yoga teaches all paths are divine. You should be allowed to do what you want if you're eternal and you're living in an adventure land like this earth. If you don't get all your desires met, what's the use? But Buddha remembers 10,000 lifetimes. He probably lived in every country, every culture, every different religion. So now you get the idea. If someone's giving you a hard time, it's very likely in their next lifetime they won't even be in this country. They won't even be on the same spiritual path they're on now. So why do people get all high blood pressured about these things? So let's read a little bit from Matthew 25. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. You can release. We're staying left, Rose. We're staying left. Wake up. Your left leg bends now in front. And this is half butterfly. So the right leg goes to a point where you can tip forward and find the midline. Remember, the midline's your belly button. So your trunk is going to drop down over the belly button. You might want to grab the right ankle, left hand here, and just try and find that midline. Don't lean to the right or left where your body may want to take you. This is 3 minutes. Half butterfly. I was sick and you looked after me. I was in prison and you came to visit me. I hope you're breathing deeply. Then the righteous will answer him. I'm curious who the righteous are, by the way. You can come to your own conclusion. Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in? Now, a stranger, by the way, could have any different spiritual path. They're a stranger to you, but you're going to invite them in. Or needing clothes and clothe you. When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you? The king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. It sounds like that is everybody. So yes, Jesus was a yogi. the most popular yoga statement Christ made, seek the kingdom within. Knock and I shall answer is another popular saying. The doorway between the flesh realm and the spiritual realm, that third eye. Right between the eyes we have that pineal gland. Every night when you dream, all the pictures are from that doorway. And there are many other references to meditation. You can read Christ's words literally, or you can read them in more of an allegory and get the deeper meaning. But let's move away. As I mentioned, we were going to also share a little bit about the ego, and we were going to move into this article 3 days ago from the Wall Street Journal on meditation called A Daily Workout for the Brain. You can release, and now you get a full minute to counter pose, right? You can stay seated and do windshield wipers. You can lie down, smiling Susie, and do windshield wipers. You can hug your knees, you can do arch pose. You get 1 minute only, moving any way that works for you. So we're glad to have Catherine the Great back with us. Catherine, how long will you be with us? Through March like last year? Good, because we've missed you. I call her Catherine the Great because it's the only way I can remember Catherine.
She has a Russian last name?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't. It sounds Russian. Yeah, it sounds Russian.
Yeah. Well, her next lifetime, she may not have a Russian last name. Right? You never know. You never know where she's going to end up. Yes, Nanette Palmer. Yes. Well, I have, about the last 5 or 6 Yin classes, we've kept the reading. Because it's universal. It's universal. All right, let's come back up to your forearms. Now we're moving to the right side, so bring your right ankle on your left knee, but above the left knee. Straighten your arms, and then bend the left leg. Okay? Good. You remember. Bend the left leg. No. Switch. Now bend. Now bend it. Lay the head back. Bring in the breath. Each time you inhale, you should feel the diaphragm expanding, energizing that hip. You'll have to adjust your foot, butt, or hands to figure out where it works best for you. So those lower meridians running through the hips all the way down to the tips of the toes. We're going to open the ankle joints today, the knee joints. Those are stomach, spleen, gallbladder, urinary bladder, kidney, and liver meridians. So this was from the Wall Street Journal, Tuesday, December 5th, 2017. A daily workout for the brain. Should you meditate is the question. Psychologist and author Daniel Goleman, well known for his 1995 book, Emotional Intelligence, spent almost 2 years combing through more than 6,000 academic studies on meditation with a team of researchers to sort through the hype and discover the real benefits. He wrote about his findings in a new book, Altered Traits. Science reveals how meditation changes your mind, brain, and body. which he co-authored with Richard J. Davidson, a neuroscientist who directs a brain lab at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. You can release. Now, sit up tall, straighten your legs. You're now in staff pose, no slouching. Just like before, you're going to lift out for just a couple breaths. You're looking straight ahead, but this time we're going a lateral bend for 1.5 minutes to the left. Each time you exhale, reaching a little bit more at a time. And don't forget, if you bend that bottom arm, that shoulder drops, and so can your ear. So he says here, science reveals. Yoga is a science. You can take the same steps the masters, avatars, rishi, saints, and seers have throughout human history and find the kingdom yourself through meditation. You can experience, they all have said the same thing, your true nature, your true self, discovering that in fact you are an eternal spirit and that we're all indivisibly, divinely joined, we're all one, as I just read about all your brothers and sisters. Dr. Goleman, who's been meditating for almost 50 years and wrote his 1973 psychology dissertation at Harvard on meditation and stress, says that research shows meditation can decrease symptoms of depression and anxiety. A specific practice called loving kindness meditation can boost compassion, and people who meditate regularly will have lasting positive changes in their brain. Here are edited excerpts from an interview with Dr. Goleman. Now, let's come out. This time, the right leg bends. Hug it in close enough so you can sit up tall. Your left hand or arm holds that right leg, and your right hand behind you. Twist right, 1 minute and 30 seconds. So the article mentions lasting positive changes to your brain. Now, some people in this culture may say, I don't want to change my brain. I'm reminding of what Yogananda had to say about meditation. Yogananda, a yoga master, died in 1955, the age of 52. He's written about 50 books. He says meditation can rewire your brain. He used the word cauterize, like a soldering iron and an engineer trying to change a circuit. Soldering one piece of wire, rerouting the way you think. We all have deep issues we're dealing with. We may not share with our friends and loved ones, even our closest loved ones, but through meditation, you may be able to reroute and change your personality. Now, as you come out, we're on the right leg, half butterfly. So the right leg bends in front. The left leg goes in such a place so when you tip forward, you are on the midline. Don't lean right. And maybe grab the left ankle, right hand out. Exhale your way down that midline for the next 3 minutes. Make sure you're breathing at least twice as deep as you normally do. in and out through your nose. What are the key elements of meditation? Every kind of meditation retrains attention. It's the basic mental fitness exercise. We don't know a lot about our brain. We actually don't know a lot about our own body, but we carry the brain around. We need to give it a little more than we're giving it right now. You can remember what Arjuna told Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna said, I want you to start meditating. Arjuna said, training the mind is as hard as catching the wind. It's a hard thing to do, to find a transformative practice like meditation. But it's the most satisfying thing you'll ever do in this or any lifetime. Ordinarily, our mind wanders half the time. In meditation, you bring discipline to the mind and try to keep it focused on one thing. When your mind wanders, you bring it back to that thing. This is roughly parallel to going to the gym and lifting weights. Every time you lift the weight, you make that muscle a little stronger. And every time you bring your mind back to your meditation, you make the neural circuitry in your brain a little stronger. So the mind wanders. You want to ask yourself which category your mind is in. Do you have a monkey mind? Do you have a drunk monkey mind, category 2? Or do you have a drunk monkey mind who's crazy and on drugs? Which category does your mind fit into? There are many beneficial effects of this simple exercise. It improves your attention, concentration improves, memory improves, learning improves. And I'd like to say it's possible you can avoid the dementia category. But there's no proof for that yet, but it couldn't hurt. And because the same circuitry in the brain that focuses your attention also manages the amygdala, which causes you to get anxious or upset or depressed, people have a double benefit. They react less strongly to things that used to upset them and recover more quickly when they do get upset. All right, you can come on out. You get a full minute, Kathy, to counterpose, releasing any tension that you have in the body. But you only get 1 minute, and I mean it. I mean it this time.
Is that what you say to your dog? I mean it this time, girl.
Yeah, many times. So we're going to move into a new sequence. Now, while you're waiting this last 30 seconds to recover, find your block and bring it within arm's length. We're not going to use it for about 3 minutes, but at least have it close by. Let's make your way up to a table pose. So now you're on your hands and knees. Hands are under the shoulders, knees under the hips. But walk your table toward the back part of your mat so the feet are near the back edge. This is melting heart. This is for the shoulder joints, the upper back. Look down at your hands, which are starting out under the shoulders. Walk your hands about 2.5 hand lengths forward. Leave your hands there. Sit your butt back towards your heels. Draw your head to the mat or the block. Spread your fingers wide so you can open up the meridians of the heart, lungs, small, large intestines, pericardium, and sangial meridians. This is a great stress for the shoulder joints, the most complex joints in the body. I hope you're breathing deeply. Also, keeping you out of the Dowager's hump category, where you get a little hunch in the upper back, compromising the respiration and circulation that goes to the heart, possibly putting you into a cardiovascular category we don't want. Remember, Yin Yoga is to help avoid fixation and fusion, limited mobilities to the joint. The joint capsules can shrink and you lose a little mobility. Can everyone benefit from meditation? Dr. Goldman responds, I just taught a 5-year-old, he was at Thanksgiving with a Batman costume on. So it wasn't Halloween. Do you want to know how Batman got his powers? He says to the kid, he sat still watching his breath for half an hour. So I'm just assuming this 5-year-old rambunctious kid was asked to relax for about a half hour. Everyone's mind can become more quiet. Often people have the wrong idea that meditation is about thinking no thoughts, that your mind is totally quiet. It isn't about that. It's about noticing when your mind wanders and bringing it back. So who's the noticer? That's the true self, the real self, that's able to witness the thought processes that you have. But it says here often people have a wrong idea that meditation is about thinking no thoughts. But many people in this culture have a wrong idea about meditation in general and about yoga in general. Yoga deals with meditation, seeking the kingdom within. It's only the most supreme goal in all of life, the most satisfying thing you can ever do. That's what yoga is. It's a union, yoga means union, between your true self, your spiritual self, and your intellect. Actually experiencing real truth. And you're not going to see that on CNN, Microsoft NBC, America Now, Democracy Now, Fox News, or any of the other news channels. What are the main types of meditation? There's concentration, keeping your focus on one point, such as your breath. So we'll take a little break from the newspaper articles so we can move on to ankle stretches. So let's come up and find your block. Now this is only a minute and a half. So if it doesn't work for you, I've got 2 or 3 options you could take. Just a second over there, young man. You're going to bring the block in front of the knees and bring the knees up on top of the block. And then you're going to attempt to sit your butt down on your heels. So you get a little bit more weight on those ankle joints. Now if this doesn't work for your physicality, you can go without a block, or you'll just have to come up here. But we're going to compound the move for a minute and a half. And let's start first by grabbing opposite elbows. Now as the elbows come up, you're going to push the head down. And for 1 minute and a half we'll be in the pose, but for the first 45 seconds I want you to focus on exhaling the head down, yes Jenny, and pulling the arms up. So we're working Dennis's shoulders from an old injury in college. The head is down and you're pulling the elbows back. Those are the upper meridians running through the shoulders, but the nice thing about this pose is you're also stimulating the lower meridians that run through the toe tips all the way up, the joints of the leg to the hips. Be patient, it's going to go by quick. Now, interlace your fingers completely. And as you flip the palms to the ceiling in that palmer, lay your head back and look up to the ceiling as well. So now you have a different angle for 45 seconds of the shoulders. You're stimulating the fingers and joints and wrists. But that head is laid back as well, kind of a counter for that forward fold. So hang in there. These are called ankle stretches. And we're sprinkling in a little bit of shoulder openers as well. 10 seconds. You can release. Come off the block entirely and come to a seated position. Let me know if it gets too hot or too cold in here. Is it comfortable? I'll run a little air through. Now we start at left, so we're going to come back to the left. Your left leg for this square pose is bent and your left foot's closest to the groin. The right leg in front of the left. Now don't pull the legs in tight. You want to separate the feet so that no ankle or heel is under a lower leg or thigh, and then tip your sit bones forward and release down. If you want, you could do a modified log and put one leg up in this crease here and find the same thing depending on your physicality. But make sure you tip forward, and for 3 minutes, let's gently open up the hips in square pose. You'll put that, yes, not too high, just in the crack right there, and drop forward. That's it, Kathy Miller. Make sure you're breathing nice and deep. So the question to Dr. Goleman was, what are the main types of meditation? There is concentration, keeping your focus on one point, such as your breath. Transcendental meditation is one variety of this where you use a Sanskrit sound or a mantra. A mantra is a repeated set of words to help focus the mind as your point of focus. Visualization is where you use an image such as the Buddha or Christ or any other image, or something you find pleasant. And then movement meditation can be used while you're walking or doing Tai Chi. In mindfulness, you don't try to control what comes into your mind, but rather try not to get caught up in it. You watch your thoughts come and go. And again, who's watching the thoughts? That's the witness that everyone possesses. That's your true self. So right there you know you're not the mind. You're the witnesser of the mind. Can meditation be used in therapy for depression? One of the new findings is a meta-analysis that shows that meditation decreases symptoms of anxiety and depression, as well as medication. So he's suggesting that if you're on depression medication, or any type in that category, that you can lower the dosage perhaps, or get off it completely. Another study shows that mindfulness-based cognitive therapy lowers the relapse rates of chronic depression. Cognitive therapy encourages people to counter their negative thoughts, but it doesn't give them a method for first recognizing them. Mindfulness helps you spot the thought as it's happening. You use it like a radar. You can come on out of square pose, take a full minute to counter pose, moving any way that works for you best, Jan. Good. So we're going to do the whole sequence over again. So you have about 30 seconds left to recover. And I'm hoping in the next 10 seconds or so you can make your way to table pose. Remember, your block is nearby because we're going to do another minute and a half, Jenny, of ankle stretches. But for now, we're going to do our melting heart. Hands and knees. Walk your feet toward the back edge of the mat. Your hands go with you. They start out under your shoulders. Then look down at your hands. Walk your hands at least 2 hand lengths forward. Leave your hands there and sit your butt back toward your heels. Try not to rest your butt on the heels. This is a stretch. Try not to touch your elbows to the mat, but you can spread the fingers wide and the breath deep. Let's say it's Christmas and you're alone and have a repetitive thought that no one loves you, your life is worthless. If you get sunk in those thoughts, that's a recipe for a very blue holiday. Mindfulness allows you to notice when you have those thoughts and not get lost in them, and to challenge them using methods for cognitive therapy. So don't forget the first branch of yoga. There are 8 branches in yoga. The 8th branch is illumination, contemplation, samadhi, enlightenment, nirvana, liberation, is when you experience the kingdom, your true nature. But the first branch, the first leaf of 5, is non-violence. Yoga teaches if you have one negative thought, you're creating a form of violence. And you're able to know that. We all can witness our thoughts and change our thought processes. And the best example would be, try to remember that the universe is your home and all are your brothers and sisters. And whatever path anyone's on, let them have their eternity the way they want it. How can we use meditation to make us more compassionate? We'll come back to that one, because that has to do with, as I mentioned at the start of the class, with the ego. Ignorance and the ego. Top 2 afflictions of humanity. Top 2 things that keep us from having a happy life. Our own ego, our own pride, and arrogance. Number 3 and 4, attachment and aversion. I'm attached to things that keep me from doing what I need to do. I don't like things. And then number 5, fear of death. Let's release off of melting heart and enthusiastically find your block again for 1 more minute and 30 seconds of ankle stretches. Oh, okay, I get it now. Dennis. Now, no, Dennis is doing them a little different. I wasn't sure what you were doing last time. Now this time, eagle arms. And for the first 45 seconds, pull those elbows up near the chin. So in the last class, not everyone was here, I read a yoga tale from Kirananda. Kirananda is the yoga master out of Chicago. Unfortunately, he died a couple years ago. He's written about 10 books. This one I'm reading from Beginner's Guide to Meditation. And we're dealing right now with the ego as it ties in to what we're talking about. That's half time. Now, switch your arms the other way, and for 45 more seconds, pull those elbows up by the chin. Called what?
Tonglen is a meditation for compassion.
Cool. Well, the story about the ego ties into an experience I had yesterday. So I thought I'd share. I thought it was quite humorous. We'll see how it ends up, though. You can come off of the block completely, sit down on your butt, your legs in front. Now we're on the right leg for square pose. So your right leg bends, the right foot closest to the groin, left leg in front of the right leg. Remember, don't, Smiling Susie, put that heel up under that lower leg or that ankle. And then tip the sit bones forward. If you want log or a modified log, the foot can go here, but you're still going to tip forward. And for 3 minutes, drop it on down. Breath is deep. Gentle hip openers called square pose. So here's a perfect yoga tale from Kirananda on the ego. And he uses the word in there here, ignorance, as well. Once upon a yoga time, an ignorant man found a tired falcon sitting on his windowsill. Now, there's nothing wrong with the falcon. He's just tired. He's not broken. He doesn't need fixing. Yoga teaches that same thing, by the way, that we're not broken. We don't need fixing. You're not going to spend an eternity in hell. Once upon a yogi time, an ignorant man found a tired falcon sitting on his windowsill. He'd never seen a bird of this kind before. I've never met anybody quite like you before. Your beliefs are different than mine. Woo! He felt sorry for the bird and decided to care for it. So he clipped the falcon's talons. He clipped its claws. He trimmed its beak until it was straight, because if you know a falcon, the beak is bent, and shortened its strong, graceful feathers. Now you look like a real bird, he said proudly. And Kirananda writes, do you understand the deep meaning of this mystical story? Because not everybody thinks like you. You're not going to get everybody in line with your egotistical beliefs. It's never going to happen. How can we use meditation to make us more compassionate? This is called loving kindness meditation. You think of people who've been kind to you in your life and feel gratitude and wish them well. Then you think of yourself and send yourself those feelings. You wish yourself well. Research shows that this activates the dopamine circuitry in your brain. It strengthens the regulatory circuits that manage stress and lowers your stress hormones. It makes you more generous and more likely to help others. And it lessens activity of self-focus, which also helps you become more compassionate because you're more open to noticing people around you and what their needs are. It's no longer I, me. It becomes we, and it becomes us. The I, me, all about me thing is called ego. And there's no place for ego if you're on a path of yoga. You can release and take a full minute to counter pose. So when we finish the minute, I'll tell you a funny story about the ego. Something that happened to me on the road while I was driving just yesterday. It actually wasn't really funny, but I felt the need that I was, to whatever capacity ultimately came of it, that I'm still a teacher through and through. At least at this point in my life, I'm a teacher. Okay, let's come up to seated, back to staff pose. Your legs are straight out in front. As I mentioned, only deeper lateral bends today, no banana, the subtle lateral. So now we'll come back to laterals as you take a few breaths to lift out. Find a nice line, you're looking straight ahead. Give me a lateral bend to the right for 1 minute and 30 seconds. Make sure you're breathing deep. Take the right hand down, Miss Palmer. So I'm driving down Speedway going west near Kolb, right near the Walmart area yesterday. And I noticed a license plate. Now I notice license plates because I have a license plate on the yoga car that says True Self. I've only had the license plate for about 3 months. So I noticed other people's license plates. So there was a car on the other lane in front, beautiful black Audi, sports Audi. The license plate was ICU Doc, standing for Intensive Care Unit Doctor. I just felt the need to drive my car a little faster in front of his, pull in front of him, and let him see my license plate, which is True Self. Now, I have no problem with ICU doctors or doctors of any kind, but most license plates are for the ego. They're personalized. That's why they call them personalized. Our license plate, which you help pay for with your money, is True Self. It's for everyone. All right, now let's go left. Let's go left. Now that doctor is going to die someday. His title will no longer be with him. But in the next lifetime, he's probably going to hear the word True Self. That's more of eternal value than just a title. So let's finish our article. How can someone start meditating? If you have a good meditation center near you, go there. If that's not easily done, you can get a number of applications for your phone. The way to evaluate an app is to evaluate the person's teaching the meditation, how long they've been doing this, what is their reputation, how serious are they. I would recommend a personal meditation, not a guided one, to start off your path. Love is a wonderful word to meditate on. You might find after a few short weeks, and I'd meditate if you're starting out, just 8 minutes, 6 minutes on love. You might find in a few short weeks that you're beginning to embrace all humans, your heart opening up, and your stress levels going down. What's the counter pose for this lateral bending? Let's go to caterpillar. Your legs are still straight out in front, but you've got to tip forward. You have to get length with the arms to grab something deep down near the feet so that that spine is able to stretch back to equanimity as well. 2 minutes. Now you could also, during your 6-8 minute meditation, you could find some other power words. When I meditate, I'll use words like peace, contentment, patience, of course, love, understanding, harmonious, tranquil, serene, and anything else that's the opposite word that you don't want to be anymore. And only you know the answer, only you know the words that you need to use. And once you fix yourself, then you can perhaps experiment with longer meditations that are maybe guided. How quickly can we feel positive effects from meditation as we finish up? The compassion studies show effects within 7 minutes, although they're short-lived. The longer you do it, the stronger the benefits. This is why we called the book Altered Traits. A trait is a lasting change. Every time you meditate, you strengthen the neural circuits that are used during that meditation. At a certain point, this becomes lasting. We think this happens gradually. The more hours you put into it, the stronger the effect is, just like strengthening a muscle. You can come on out, Dr. Smile and Susie. Now, what's the counter pose? Come to kneeling. Counter pose. You have 3 choices. For 1.5 minutes, you can find modified camel, thumbs touch, just lay it back. You could have a high heel camel and draw the hands to the heels or low. It doesn't matter to me what you choose, but it's a good counter. And we can get the back bending that we need. We do often in Yin. Make sure you're breathing nice and deep. We're entering the last section of the class. We have just about 12 minutes to go. Yeah, that's fine. But there's only 1.5 minutes. That's why you can just grab the waist. That's adequate. You can come out of your back bend. How are we going to possibly counter for that, Laura? Stand up. Yes. Bring your feet to the outer edges of the mat. Bend the knees. Dangling. This is called dangling. Grab opposite elbows. And for 2 minutes, I want you to be dangling like a rag doll. So I mentioned that this particular Yin class a little bit more active rather than give you much rest. The counter poses are still beneficial. We have one more active move to make right after this 2 minutes expires. Most of you are familiar with squatting, which we're going to do for 2 minutes. We're going to squat right after this 2 minutes. the last bit of our active class. Then we'll wind down with twisting. If you're familiar with squatting, then you'll just squat. But those of you that already know that because of your physicality it's not going to work, then you'll do dragon. I'll demonstrate both. But remember, in dragon you're going to drop to one knee and the other foot way out in front. Both arms and hands on the inside of that leg. So you can stimulate that one hip. And then when we get to halftime, 1 minute into squatting, you'll switch legs. I'll cue you when that time comes. Urinary bladder meridians run up and down the back of the legs and on each side of the spine. Now you could go right to your squat or you could stand up. But your squat, you're trying to have the feet flat and the arms the inside of the legs. This is 2 minutes. Otherwise, you're in dragon. Pick a leg out front, bring the foot way out, both hands and arms on the inside of the leg and drop it on down. Pick which one works for you best as I start the 2-minute timer. So our book, Yin Yoga by Bernie Clark, I think it's the finest yin book on the market today, says that 2/3 of the world squat every day to go to the bathroom. If it doesn't work for you, perhaps you need to do it more often. Linda Evans, bring your feet out another 2 inches and get them flat. That's your job. Yes, now sit. Maybe you went a little wide. You have to find that perfect place. Make sure you're breathing deep. But everyone's physicality is different. If you're not able to squat, I can assure you that you squatted in previous lives, but since the invention of the toilet, right, here in this culture. Now, if you're in dragon, if one foot's in front, switch legs and draw the other foot in front. If you're squatting, stay there for another minute. Breathing deeply. Now, if you do have your squat, you can push your elbows, getting a little more stimulation there if you want. Hang in there, you've got about 15 seconds. Maybe you can draw your hands behind you and gently set your buttocks down on the mat. Yes, Jan. Yes. Disappointed, I know, that we had to come out so soon. So let's wrap it up with deer pose. We started with the left leg today. Let's draw the left leg in front. We're going to do a gentle twist, Dennis. Left leg in front, right leg in back. Sit up tall. You're going to twist all the way to your left, coming outside that left thigh. Split your elbows apart, stack your hands, releasing down in deer pose. This is a gentle twist to end the class. And we'll go for 2 minutes for each side. Make sure you're breathing nice and deep. So if you're here next week, we have 2 Hatha Yogas scheduled. The last class will be next Friday, It'll be the last class I'm going to teach for anyone else at Divine Joy Yoga until January 2nd. We take 2 full weeks off. But when we come back on January 2nd, it'll be another Yin class, Catherine the Great. If you want yoga during those 18 days, you can find YouTube, Divine Joy Yoga on YouTube. We have 30 Hatha classes. And I think this is our 18th Yin class. So let's come back up. No counter pose, honey, Lee Barrett. Just straighten the legs in front. Bend the right leg first in front, left leg in back. Sit up tall, get a nice straight spine. Twist to your right. Come way outside that right thigh. Split the elbows apart, stack your hands under your chin, cheek, or forehead. 2 minutes. So I think I've been teaching about 7.5 years. We've been doing Yin Yoga only 3 years. My colleagues suggested I try it, and we did. Everybody loves it. Half your body Yin tissue, half is Yang. But only the last, I'm just guessing, 8 months or so, I've offered a guided meditation at the end of only the Yin classes. Today's no different. If you happen to get lost during the meditation, coming up in a few minutes, then no big deal. I'm not offended. You're just going to have that quietude of mind, what yoga is. But if you should happen to follow along, this meditation is going to be called relaxation meditation. We're going to draw your consciousness to different areas of your body. As I mentioned earlier when we started, culminating in a green light, a green healing light that you can use to find a little bit of relief or healing in any areas that pertain to your wonderfully made body. Got about 25 seconds. Hang in there. Okay, that's going to do it. Take a full minute, Kathy McDaniel, to counter pose and find the second most important pose in all of yoga. Moving any way you wish. I'm hoping you can get nice and snugly and comfy on your mat within the next minute. Eyes shut, no more deep breathing. The second most important pose in all of yoga, your final 5 minutes of rest. Of course, we talk about it every class. The most important pose in all of yoga is to seek the kingdom within, to activate your sophisticated equipment in your body, primarily the pineal gland, the doorway between this fleshly realm and the eternal spiritual realm, Discover your true self, not your egoic self. The supreme goal in all of life, according to yoga. So I'm hoping the next 20 seconds you're relaxed, eyes closed, all the energy out of your body melting into your mat. Bring your awareness to your feet. Every time you exhale, the tension in the soles of your feet being released. Breathe in the light. And bring your awareness to your lower legs and calves. See the white light traveling into your lower legs, releasing all tension and stiffness. Every time you exhale, the tension in your calves is being released. Your breath is becoming slow and rhythmic. Breathe in the light. Visualize the light traveling into your upper legs. Every time you exhale, releasing all the tension out of your thighs. Bring your awareness to your hips. With each exhale, allow your hips to relax. Breathe in the light. As you do, see the light coming in and traveling down your spine. Your spine is filling with light. And as you exhale, release any tension in the disc of the spine, the vertebrae of the spine. Bring your awareness to your stomach. Breathe in. Allow your stomach to expand with light. Breathing out, releasing any tension in your stomach area. Breathe in the light. As you do, see the light traveling around your chest and heart area. As the light swirls around your heart area, your heart chakra begins to open. You see the petals like a flower begin to swirl and open, radiating a green light. Bring your awareness to your throat and neck area. Allow any tension in your neck to be released on the out breath. Breathe in the light, bringing your awareness to your face. As you exhale, allow any tension in your forehead, your eyes, your jaw, your tongue to relax as you breathe out. Your face is now completely relaxed. Visualize a stream of green healing light traveling into your crown chakra at the top of your head. This energy travels down throughout your entire body and fills your body with this green healing light. Allow this green light to go to any parts of your body that need healing. It could be a past injury or simply a weakness in your body that you're unaware of. Simply allow this green light to completely surround this part of your body now. And your entire body is now full of this green healing light. Your body is feeling very relaxed now. Your mind is clear and focused. Your emotions are feeling calm and content. As you find your way back into this temporary plane of existence, try to gracefully maneuver to a seated position. So I hope that class wasn't too active a yin class. Good. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Thank you. If you'd like, you can draw the hands of the heart center. As always, thank you all for coming out and sharing such a delightful experience, sharing your yin yoga with me and with each other. Today's closing from the Kina Upanishads of ancient India. That which makes the mind think, but cannot be thought by the mind, that is the self indeed. This self is not someone other than you. I hope your weekend is merry and mindful. Namaste.